Hello, welcome back to Pick a Pile Readings. This week we are using the Edgar Allan Poe deck. The deck review for this deck was done last week, so you can find it in my playlists under the tarot deck reviews. And so I'm going to do 3 readings here. I'll ask you to pick the pile that most resonates with you. So this is pile number 1. Pile number 2, and pile number 3, using a different setup today with the holiday, and also because I'm still experimenting with the different decks, with the different setups. So I'm going to give you a minute to take a deep breath, choose the pile that most resonates with you, and then we will get on to the readings. Okay, move these out of the way and we will go to pile number 1. Here we have the 6 of Pentacles, the 7 of Swords, and the World. So if this pile is the one you chose, the one that resonated with you, we've got kind of the long game going. The 6 of Pentacles speaks to generosity, and I usually see it too as making sure that whatever energies and labors you're putting out, you are getting compensated in some way. And generosity being such a great thing, the thing about the 6 of Pentacles is that it comes after the 5. So this generosity usually comes from that understanding what it's like to be stuck and, out in the cold. And as a result, sometimes it can be too generous. And that sounds silly, but if you are giving so much that you don't have any left over for yourself, then you'll end up right back in that place. So definitely, continue to help people, but make sure that you are not getting stuck. Then we see him here with the 7 of Swords. So this comes from the story of the robot that was set up to play chess. And the thing about chess is you're always supposed to be thinking, 16 moves ahead. So that's why we look here at the long game. And I think that's really interesting with the 6 of Swords because, like I said, there's that pouring and pouring out and making sure that you're not being short-sighted about it. So there's almost a strategic giving, a strategic use of resources here. And then we come to the World, which is a card of culmination. It says if you play your cards right, so to speak, if you make the right moves, you think ahead, you can do all that good and also have the benefits for yourself. And one of the great things about this card is that one of the things I talk about when we talk about the World is that reminder that just because you have achieved a goal or you've accomplished something doesn't mean that you can't hope for more. Especially people who come from a place where they have experienced worry about not having enough, scarcity mindsets, or not even scarcity mindsets. If you've been somewhere where you have been scrimping and scraping all of the time, sometimes when we get where we want it to be, we end up feeling guilty for wanting more. And this card says not only that you are going to get where you are trying to be, but that it's okay to then broaden your vision and give yourself more goals, more things to look forward to. So again, if this pile is the one that resonated with you, it says that, great things are coming as long as you are smart and think ahead and balance your resources, which is always good advice, but very specifically here. Moving on to the second pile. If the second pile was resonated with you, you have the Three of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Empress. So this more speaks to family, whether it be biological or chosen, and some clarity. The Three of Cups, we have that coming together, reminiscing. Sometimes this card can speak to gossip, but this is more of a catching up kind of feel. Coming together, enjoying each other's company. But then along with the Ace of Swords, which brings about new ideas, clarity, aha moments, and the Empress, which is more about creativity and nurturing. So this says to me that these get-togethers, these coming together in terms of family or community, these working out, just getting back together is going to give you, or has given you, some sort of insight, some sort of spark to maybe shift perspective or more bring in new information and get you going on your path, in terms of creativity, in terms of, maybe you felt stuck in a project or in your work life and it kind of felt like you didn't know your next step. These cards together have that feeling of someone saying something that just sort of fits that last piece of the puzzle in and kind of gives you that spark that was needed to put those pieces together and take the next step and hit on something bigger and better. Those of you drawn to the third pile, we have the Five of Swords, the Five of Cups, and the Seven of Wands. So this one is a tougher reading than the other two. While those two have a impetus moving forward because of new resources or new information, this moving forward will have to come from a place of personal strength. The Five of Swords is kind of the cut your losses card. We look at an outcome where we thought we could win, or we thought we could come out ahead, and instead it just didn't work out the way we planned. Often it doesn't work out for that other party either, so it's sort of that ending of things just kind of falling apart like he has here, and it's time to walk away. And that is tough, but one of the great things about this card is that you get to walk away before you've invested too much into it. So no, you didn't get where you were going, but if you know the swords path, then you know that once you get to the 10, the ending is a card of walking away after going through the same battle over and over again. So in this case, it's good that you weren't able to do what you wanted to because you later tend to find out that all of your efforts weren't going to make it work anyway. But also, I have found that a lot of times when we hit the Five of Swords, the people who are getting it really didn't want to continue, but had more of the, I've already invested the time, I'm already committed. Maybe they were already having doubts, but didn't want to quit. And so it's almost like the situation made it so that you didn't have to continue on a path that you really didn't want to be on anyway. Well, the Five of Cups speaks to grief and loss. Often, this is the card where we look at death. People talk about death as the death card, but that rarely has anything to do with death and loss. It's a different kind of ending. This card is that kind of ending. And it doesn't have to be death or losing someone. It can be the loss of a job. It can be the loss of a friendship. These two cards together would indicate that sort of thing. The loss of a relationship where you tried, probably both people tried, but ultimately the only reason it was working is because both parties felt like they had to make it work. So this can be even something large like divorce. And obviously that is a hard thing to go through, but if it is something that is not working, sometimes instead of just continuing to crash into the wall, it's better to turn. But again, it can be the end of a friendship. It can be just something where the attachment is there, but it just doesn't make sense to keep going. With those cards, we have the Seven of Wands, which is a card of standing your ground. And I find that really interesting with those other two, because any time we're leaving something or walking away from a situation that we once really loved, really were attached to, committed to, it can be really hard not to slip back and try one more time. And so this card of standing your ground feels very much like standing up to yourself and not falling back into old patterns, knowing that you deserve better and pushing for it, kind of being okay with having to start over with a blank slate. And, it's okay to have mixed feelings. It's okay to be sad about things not continuing, even if you don't want them to continue, because, you put that time and effort in. And it's actually really healthy to find and celebrate all of the good pieces without running back to them. So while it is a tougher week and a harder reading, I do hope that you will see the bright side of that, and that is that you get that blank slate and you can take the lessons with you, but you don't have to take all of the hardships. So again, that was the Edgar Allan Poe deck. That's the one that I reviewed last week. Doing the reviews every other week and the readings, just to give you a better idea of how the deck reads, make it a little different, and have content. I am mentioning this because, again, I only want to put out things that will actually add something for people. So let me know how you feel about the format, and we'll be back next week with another deck review. Thank you.